platinum recording artist, celebrated Canadian awarded singer, songwriter, actress. Use your talents to be social justice advocate. You're a philanthropist. So naturally, I have to ask you,
Yes.
what's on your mind?
Oh, what a beautiful question. Love is on my mind.
Oh, tell me more.
Love heals everything. Self-love, love thy neighbor. I am my human's keeper. Love of family, love of friends, love of opportunity, love of community. It's that 4-letter word that I think sometimes is misused and sometimes not used enough.
We had an amazing conversation earlier today with someone who's talking about building trust, and one of the things they asked is, who's an optimist? Who's a pessimist? Right? And in our room, a lot of people said, I'm an optimist. No, I'm an optimist. But I think that's the outlier. Like right now, the vibe is feeling a little negative. So for you to be love is on your mind, love is in your space. Tell me more. What makes you feel that positive vibe?
Yeah. Could you tell me your name one more time?
I'm Emily.
Emily, because I like to speak to like you're my homegirl. You know what I mean? So Emily, I lean into the power of words.
Yes.
A lot, and being almost 47 and going through hormonal changes, it's been the biggest gift because I'm finally at a stage where I'm okay being not okay. And I'm also okay disrupting some.
Yes.
Right. And so I listened to Alicia Keys had an interview. Okay. And it moved me to the point where I actually transcribed it. And she simply said, so I use it as a mantra. I'll say the beginning of it. She simply said, things could change for the better so profoundly and so swiftly.
Yes.
When she said, I have free time, I have abundance, I have friends like I've never had before. And now she's like, I started looking at there's more to it. Right? I was like, things can change for the better so profoundly and so swiftly. True change happens in an instant. Everything that we want to happen in life happens in an instant.
Yes.
There's not some, guess what's coming? Oh, love's coming. Oh, that new job is coming.
Prepare for it.
Oh, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're not going to see it on the way, but we can lean into becoming.
So you're saying, like, be open to it. Realize it's everywhere around you. And there's other stuff around you for sure.
Oh, yeah. Those entities, those vibrations, those frequencies. There. Yeah.
And I think vibrations is an excellent kind of way to describe it. And of course, as a singer, the singer in you is you kind of fit.
It's energy.
But yes, it's energy, right? Vibrating on that frequency. And this is like I said to you, what's that vibe about? Because like I feel the same way. Like, what is the vibration you're choosing to kind of bring to a conversation? And so thank you so much for sharing that.
It's my pleasure.
Tonight you're going to be talking to our invited guests at Magnet Network Live about this concept of co-conspirators, right? And so co-conspirators, more than just like, we hear a lot about allyship, right? And I think co-conspirators has just a slightly different nuance. And without taking away what you're going to do tonight, would you give me like a little kind of peek of what you're thinking about when you think about your presentation?
Yeah, it's simply a conversation. Conversation I've had with friends, conversation I've had with people of different walks of life, different races, in particular, white girlfriends, white guy friends. I was like, we've been friends since kindergarten. When I get it, they're like, hey, I'm your ally. I'm like, but there's some action around that, and not just seniority. There's some courage around that. Being willing, I often say, are you willing to drive the getaway car? Right? It's sacrificial. It's actually sacrificial. I eat, you eat. I don't eat, you don't eat. I go to jail, you go to jail. You go to jail, I go to jail. Right? It's that type of, and also leaning into like liberation for the long haul.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
First of all, I'm really excited about this performance, but I think like that point about like the courage point, I think a lot about that because, we all know exactly what to say, what not to say. There's rules in, complexity is complex, right? And there's like, do this, don't do that. Make sure you say this, don't say this. And whether that is kind of black, white, or whether that's with our Indigenous friends, or whether that is just any kind of cultural sensitivities. But I find that it's that authenticity of like being willing to maybe put yourself out there and be wrong in the way that you do it, but being authentic in that your intention is actually to be willing to drive, to get like, I'm with you, you know what I mean? And I might not exactly know what to do because we didn't all learn exactly what to do. But like having that authentic kind of co-conspirator conversation, I think is like what inspires me so much about you and about this talk tonight. So thank you.
Thank you.
So this, I'm gonna kind of pivot about sort of this event is really about the future, right? So we have a lot of stuff happening in the world. Our future, for good or bad, is not as certain as we thought it was 5 years ago. Like all the ways that we're thinking, oh, this is going to be this, or maybe 10 years ago. Okay? So you have been a trailblazer. You've opened doors for other people. You are, creativity, innovation. You're breaking down doors. How do you think about opportunity in terms of creating opportunity, not just for what it means for the person you're creating opportunity for, but what it means for that whole community, the whole family, everybody, like the ripple effect of opportunity for maybe even just one person?
Right. Well, I think that preparation is a step, the step that's sometimes missing. Thank you for saying all that you said, Emily, because that was through sheer necessity. I didn't say, hey, guess what? Now there's that door, I'm going to kick it. And there's that window I'm going to climb through. It was basically thinking about my ancestors who has given me a life of privilege. Like sometimes people use the word privilege and don't associate it with anything but white. Right? And it is a privilege to be Jully Black. I'm using my Jully Black privilege, right?
Yeah.
To shine a light on things, to be vulnerable, to say when I'm wrong, right? To be accountable. So with opportunity, realizing that it's kind of egotistical sometimes. I have to close my eyes because I want to really make it land. To be in a position where you are like, I'm creating this opportunity, or I want to do this for this community, or it's really in the silence. My mom, my late mom, she was so wise, and she would say, Drew, what you do in private will be rewarded in public. Let that one land.
Let that one land. Yes.
So there's things, I just got shivers. There's so much change that can happen if we will step out of the spotlight and be the co-conspirator and know that, hey, you know what? These changes may not be for my generation, and be okay with it.
Everybody who's sort of my network, what we're working in, what we're doing is really around how can we create structures and pathways that support the talent of the future or the talent of today with the right opportunities, not just any opportunity, the opportunity that's right for them, that fulfills them, that allows them, whether we're talking about newcomers, whether we're talking about communities that have traditionally been excluded, whether we're talking about ourselves, like me as a mid-career professional, like am I satisfied? Am I growing? Like, am I, you know what I mean? Like, so much of what we're doing is here. And I think that you stand as a bit of a testament that you can see to what happens when we do our work, right? When we create opportunities for talent. When we create, you've had such an incredible career of opportunities, different things that you've done. And yeah, I understand one thing leads to another, but creating the pathways to letting all of us shine and become who we want to be, you are that. Like, can you speak to that at all? Like, what that feels like? Like, how does that feel?
It's wow. So much is like, my mind is going like this. as you were speaking, the word that came up onto like on the screen of my mind's eye was seize. Are we willing to seize each and every opportunity? For example, when I was presented with the opportunity to do theater, I played Caroline or Change at the Elgin Theater in Toronto. And I'd never led a company. It was 300 pages, 29 songs. It was Tony Award winning.
Yeah.
And at first, I was like, I'm a singer. I'm going to be cheating on my music. Like, no. Right? But I remember a mentor way back when say there's many sides to your voice. So are you using all 180, 360? Are you truly seizing? Could you seize this opportunity and show yourself what you're capable of with dedication, commitment, education, mentorship, all the things? Because that accomplishment, I'm shivering, is what helped me have the courage to say home on native land 4 years later.
I was like, do I ask it? Do I not ask it?
No,
I gotta
of course you ask
I
it.
have many of our friends and our colleagues here today are, from Métis and other nations. And, they talk to me so much about Jully Black. I'm so excited she's come. She means so much to our community. And I know you've been presented and celebrated in Indigenous communities. And was that moment like planned moment? Was that moment it came to you? Like that moment, like what did that moment mean to you? And I don't mean to ask you the question I'm sure everybody asked you, but I have to.
No. What I will say, Emily, is that no one's asked it from your perspective, from your face, from your point of view. No, I want to encourage you that never not ask a question because it hasn't been asked by you, right? You're one of one.
Talk about shivers. I think about
one
that.
Of one.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it did come to me as a download because I had stopped singing the Canadian anthem for 3 years prior.
Right.
I turned down any sort of anthem. I was like, okay, I was taught this in kindergarten. Let me dice as a songwriter. Yeah. Let me go through line for line now.
Yeah.
Right? And this opportunity came, largest stage for the Canadian anthem.
So beautiful.
Period. Because we don't get, our anthem isn't sung at the Super Bowl.
No.
Right? It's not sung unless a team makes it in the Stanley Cup. So I was like, this is the one time. So this is where you have to exercise wisdom. My mom, again, another Jamaican saying, she would say, don't cut off your nose to spite your faith.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I could be like, no, I'm not doing it because it's like, wait. Opportunity. Talent meets opportunity. An opportunity to stand in the gap, to be a bridge. This is why I have this tattoo permanently on my arm. Right?
Okay, good.
And it came to, but I didn't shout it out. I called 2 Indigenous friends and I said, how would you feel? How would your family feel? How would your community feel? And they said, this is the only way we've sung it our whole life. I got permission, appropriation versus appreciation.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And the rest is history.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I think, this leads very elegantly and easily into a question about the role of music and advocacy. But I think we've long known that music has been a pivotal, instrumental part of change, societal change. And do you think that, I'm going to say, do you think there's more room for that? Do you think we've done it all? Do you think like everybody's done it? Do you think that it's going to be different kinds of pieces? How do you see the future of advocacy, music, social change? Is it just going to be what comes up the way we've done it since the dawn of time? Is maybe the kind of elegant way to do it, but tell me.
I think it's always about the story, and the songwriter is also the storyteller, right? And so it hasn't been all done. Life is still being lived, right? Yeah. And a lot of times, if I think about, Marvin Gaye, What's Going On, or, James Brown, Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud, or, We Are the World, like this, there's always songs that represent the time that we're in, right? Who Run the World, Girls, like it doesn't, right? And so I'm excited for what's to come musically. Now, they're systemically, I just did a voiceover for a documentary called Paid in Full on CBC. And it's about wage disparities, about what's happened since the 1920s till now within the music industry, where artists weren't getting their just desserts,
Yeah,
basically, right?
yeah.
And that's still happening. And so we've come a long way. We still have further to go. But at the same time, it's like, as long as we have, my mom, again, she would say, as long as you have life, you have time. And my biggest mission that my mom left me with is to die empty,
Ooh.
to rob the grave.
Yes.
There are books, there's, all types of stuff in there, recipes, cures,
Yes.
conversations that hadn't been had.
One of my favorite kind of concepts that I've been thinking about is this concept of being undone, right? And so when we think about, Canada, for example, and kind of continuing what we're talking about, there are really great things that we've done as a country. There's also things that no person should ever have done, right? But this idea that we're not done, what you're bringing forward is so powerful and something I've really been thinking a lot about lately. So I think I'll ask you kind of one final question in that vein, right? Which is, I don't believe it's one person, one industry. I don't think it's government. I don't think it's the music industry. I don't think it's artists, poets. I don't think it's technologists. I don't think it's anybody that is the person that should be driving that. I think it's all of us that should be collaborating and driving it together. And I'm just wondering if you could respond to that or tell me what you think about people from different industries coming together collectively on one kind of major big issue and bringing all those different perspectives together.
I think that it's something that will be impactful if we are ready to listen, learn, and take action. It starts with the listening. So sometimes you could come together and the ego, representing our industries. But the biggest change in my life, the most impactful change that's happened has been in the time that I've taken pause. Right? Even being a part of this wonderful event. This is the leaning into, I kind of say, feel the fear and do it anyway. Right? And meaning it's the unknown. And I'll come and I'll be truly Jully, right? Do my thing. But I also want to learn. I'm like, what are we doing here? What are we actually doing here? And just listen. Yeah.
I am going to let you get ready for the rest of the night, Jully Black. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.